At what point is it clear that children have become adults and are ready to become independent? Sometimes there can be a defining moment in a person's life when it's time for them to take responsibility for their own lives. The story I will tell you today is about how a child had to grow up in just a matter of seconds in order to quickly assess a situation and make the right decision. This decision ultimately changed his life forever. 50-year-old Paul Rowland and his 13-year-old son Joe lived in Wales near the island of Moelfre. Like many locals, they loved kayaking in the ocean. On this day in late February, the sea was calm and the weather was favorable. Paul and Joe packed up the necessary things for their journey, never even imagining that their trip would turn out to be so dangerous. After kayaking about 1.5 kilometers from the shore, their kayak accidentally capsized. The man quickly assessed the situation, swam to the kayak, turned it over, and helped his son climb into it. When Paul tried to climb onto it himself, the kayak turned over again under his weight, and Joe ended up in the water again. So then Paul decided not to risk that again and just helped Joe back inside. Looking around, he saw a rock not far away and started to swim towards it, pushing the kayak with his son inside in front of him. However, this task proved to be too hard for the man. For about half an hour, he floundered in the water, trying to direct the kayak towards the rock, but to no avail. Despite the calm weather, the water was icy cold and Paul started to lose his strength. When Joe saw that his father was weakening, he jumped into the water himself and let his father swim to the rock without such a burden. At this point, Paul's wife began to worry that her husband and son had not arrived home when expected. She called the Coast Guard and reported that 2 people were on a kayak in the open sea. A search operation was immediately initiated. The Coast Guard, a Moelfre lifeboat, and even a helicopter were involved. They searched everywhere but could not find any trace of the pair. Then suddenly, one of the crew members shouted that he saw 2 people on a rocky island, clearly alive and needing help. Immediately, 2 rescuers jumped into a smaller lifeboat and went to the rock. When they were ashore and saw 2 people with clear signs of hypothermia, they called for additional help and provided what medical assistance they could. During this time, Paul kept muttering about how it was only thanks to his son that he did not drown. Apparently, when it started to become clear that he may not be able to find the strength to survive, he started to tell Joe how much he loved him, hugged him, and kissed him. But Joe encouraged his father to keep going, and they swam in unison towards the rock. Joe made it to the rock first, which caused Paul to rejoice that his son was safe, and that was the last thing he remembered before losing consciousness. The boy, seeing that his father was drowning, did not hesitate and jumped back into the icy water to swim back to his father. He managed to pull him to the surface and then brought him to the shore. There, he gave his father CPR and was able to wake him up. Then he lifted the man onto his shoulders and carried him further up the shore. When they were both safe, Paul came to his senses but had no idea how they got where they were. Then Joe, sobbing, explained the course of events and begged his father to not pass out again. They embraced in order to warm up, and that was when the rescuers found them. They were picked up by a helicopter and taken to the nearest hospital for medical treatment. Paul and Joe both had severe hypothermia, cuts, and bruises. Paul never stopped thanking his son for saving his life. The boy only silently nodded, occasionally sobbing over the horror they had experienced. So it was that in one day, Joe grew from a teenager into a real man, able to save his father from danger and prevent him from dying. What do you think about this story? Share your opinion in the comments. Click the like button if you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so as not to miss our new videos.